Whoop, mother, whoop, bam. Hey, so I have this book that I shown on here before, right? This is actually a gang threat assessment book, right? It's called Insane Clown Posse and the World They Made, Juggalo, by Steve Miller, author of Detroit Rock City. It's just under 300 pages. A deep look into the world of juggalos. And you know what? Screw the back. I'm just gonna read chapter 1. That's what this is about, man. Because I know some people, want to get this, might not be able to. So, see if this is worth the read. I might skip the introduction. Let's see. We'll try it out. There was, in 1997, a moment when a good friend whose musical taste I respected greatly played for me the great Malenko. He and I grew up together, trading obscure music tips from Atomic Rooster to Cockney Rebel while buying the Stooges LPs. I don't know what none of these are, from the cutout bins. It was like that before the internet. You learned about good music from your trusted friends. One errant referral could sink one's credibility, and you'd be listening to your Jobriath LPs by yourself. Don't ask me to elaborate on what any of that music is. The first spin of Malenko was enlightening, a heady carnival ride with big production, wireless insolence, and a Detroit rock aesthetic. The photos on the CD sleeve delivered a graphic mesh of glam and Stephen King imagery. Two open-mouthed, dreadlock clowns shouting into the camera. It was a welcome addition to the musical family. What I did not know at the time was that Insane Clown Posse, the creators of Malenko, were greatly reviled by people who considered themselves serious music fans. The only thing I knew is that it sounded good to me, possessed of the FU that made rock and roll the resistance it needed to be from the start and continued through the years. I dove into punk rock as a genre fully. I kept meeting people who were as into music as I was. They could tell you the history of the Velvet Underground, saw the New York Dolls more than once, and owned at least one Magma LP. I was floundering in January 1979, taking a class at the local community college, although I couldn't tell you what it was about. College was hardly the place I wanted to end up, but someone told me they gave you money to attend. Signed me up. I got a $3,000 student loan. I bought a cheap Cutlass and a Gibson Melody Maker and dropped all my classes except this one. A guy in the class had classic rock hair, a whisper of facial fuzz, and a notebook with a sticker that said, "The Controllers." The name got me interested, so we started talking about music. His pals from a little country town called Vermontville had formed a band and moved to Los Angeles a couple of years before. A week later, he brought me in what turned out to be a great 7-inch neutron bomb, quote, by the killer, I can't even say the word in today's society. Starts with a Q. The LGBTs will ban me, will cancel me. Anyway, Los Angeles is where all the punk rock is in the US is, he told me. One day he proclaimed that punk rock is great because it turns everyone into their dads. Words I have repeated numerous times over the years. This was one smart guy. Insane Clown Posse has more punk rock in them than any of the sold-out fare hitting charts today. The connection for me came quickly. I realized that everyone, indeed, turned into their dads as soon as you brought up Insane Clown Posse. Not long after the introduction to Malenko, the Insane Clown Posse truck pulls up to Trees, a nightclub and institution in the deep Elum section of Dallas. Along with the regular gear, the crew started to offload some crates packed with 2-liter bottles of Faygo, a cut-rate soda popular in the Midwest. So what's with the Faygo? The Trees manager, Chris, asked Shaggy as he stood to the side of the stage. Oh, we just like to throw a little around at our shows, Shaggy told him. The next day, my pal Chris, the manager, called me. We had this band from Detroit in last night, Insane Clown Posse, and everyone's pissed off about it, he told me. He knew I was from Michigan and enjoyed a good caper, and I don't think I never read the intro to this. They threw Faygo all over the place. It got into the monitors and even some of the fronts. Okay, I said, that's fucked up, but funny. That same week, I scored a promo copy of the Amazing Jekyll Brothers, ICP's follow-up to Malenko, from a promo pile of music. From a promo pile of music at the Dallas Morning News, where I was a Metro reporter. No one missed it. A few years later, I was in Miami on a sunny summer afternoon, temps around 87 and 95% humidity. I was walking near the University Metro stop near the University of Miami, and 3 juggalos, 2 guys, 1 girl, came walking out from the stop and through the parking lot in full makeup. It was like seeing a walking cartoon. This blaze of bright white and black clown paint in the glaring sunlight. I'm no fashion maven, but I thought it was a pretty cool thing to be sporting that look in a major city in bright daylight. I knew what they were and why, but no one else did, and people were freaking, staring, laughing, pointing. They did this and endured the ridicule and made the statement because they believed in a music that made them feel part of something. Isn't that what rebellious music was at some point? A call to bring people together? The 50s greasers, 60s hippies, the 70s punks, and underground ravers all came together with like-minded enjoyment of sounds and the culture around them. But juggalos are scorned and ridiculed if they're acknowledged at all. Juggalos enjoy the outside status. Juggalos enjoy the outsider status, and that pisses off their critics even more. Juggalos are easily lampooned and don't seem to take themselves too seriously to enjoy the joke, which results in even more angry foes. That finger in the eye of the music cognoscenti? I've never heard that word before. And culture elitists is a cool thing to watch. The experiences were adding up for me, although they may not end here. They certainly come to a head with this book. When I began reporting this book, people who were interested in my previous reporting journeys were uninterested and unamused. When someone would ask me what my next project was, and I told them it would be about juggalos and the Insane Clown Posse, the conversation would go something like this. Other person, those guys are terrible. Me, have you ever heard them? OP, hedging a bit, no. There was more than one conversation like this with people I had before thought of, there was more than one conversation like this with people I had before thought of as open-minded, if not enlightened. Going to the gathering, one friend said over lunch one day. This guy was at one time a burly punk who had given many a beatdown, but to attend the gathering, those people were crazy, he said. You better be careful. As it turns out, yes, they can be. The dude who cut off his nipples. Dang, bro. Which you will read about, made an interesting choice. For example, watch any number of video clips from the gathering. Some call them documentaries, but that's overly generous. And you can see intoxicated juggalos flying their idiot flag. But for everyone I ran into who made some dubious moves in their life, I also met some generous folks who were socially and culturally adventurous. They didn't want to wallow in the dirt for 4 days in July. Or they didn't have to wallow in the dirt for 4 days in July. They wanted to. Juggalos have committed some crimes, too many to name. Really dumb ones too. One of my favorite went down in 2014 when two juggalos in Maryland tried to cut a juggalo tattoo. One of my favorites went down in 2014 when two juggalos in Maryland tried to cut a juggalo tattoo off the arm of their buddy because they felt he hadn't earned it. The arm had to be amputated. Both of the assaulters were sent to prison. I will say this: I don't think that's correct information. From what I read on the article, was more along the lines of he disrespected the guy's girlfriend or something. It's probably more to that or something else altogether. But I highly doubt that they just cut this man's tattoo off because he hadn't earned it. I highly doubt that, especially since what I read was completely different. But anyways, one small discrepancy. The real reason the two suspects gave for the assault, according to police. Oh, okay. See, it even says it right here. I jumped the gun a little bit. The real reason the two suspects gave for the assault, according to a police report, was that the victim had been smacking around his girlfriend and the two didn't dig it. The tattoo burning was an afterthought, if thought can be applied in any manner here, but most of the news accounts focused on the tattoo burning and the word juggalo. A media group bent on sensationalizing crime will run with juggalos, ideally in the lead, L-E-D-E, end or headline. It's also unseemly, these clowns, and the perception that most juggalos take up the lower ranks of society ensures that there will be little pushback or support for them. So when an ex-con named Josh Durcho had an IQ of around 72, strangled his family in their home outside Oklahoma City in 2009, the local newspaper reported it like this. The ex-convict accused of strangling his girlfriend and her 4 children is a fan of Insane Clown Posse, a rap hip-hop duo named for profane lyrics about murder, fantasies, necrophilia, and violent acts. They perform in concert as wicked clowns, wearing black and white clown makeup. A line in one song, Murder Cloak, goes, "I'm killing today to take this feeling away." The lyrics of another song, Sleepwalker, include the lines, "Choke 'em, kill 'em, and sleep right through the night." There are a million ways to report this crime, but putting ICP in the lead is a particularly craven stretch, journalistically speaking, and this kind of thing is rampant. Many juggalos have lived on the margins, which is one of the elements that makes them so interesting. That faction of them is, perhaps, more prone to committing crimes, just as anyone with limited means might be. They are mistaken that all law enforcement is lumping all juggalos into the gang thing, Bernard Plaskett tells me, sitting in an interview room at the headquarters of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Plaskett is a gang squad detective, and he insists that some juggalos are gang members. It's not us or the FBI doing this. The FBI is only going on the criminal statistics, which are of people who have admitted to being juggalos that are committing violent crimes. Plaskett slaps his right hand into his left palm to emphasize his point. People who have admitted to being juggalos committing violent crimes. He adds that the percentage of juggalos that are gang members is low. There are around 3,000 juggalos in Las Vegas, and I have 500 in the gang database. That's a fraction. That's a lot. And it's to say that's a fraction, it's still, what, 1/6, I think? 5, 1, 5, 2. Yeah, 1/6 of the population of juggalos there. Anyway, I ask if I can see the gang data, the reports, anything that would confirm what he says. No, he says, that's not public information. Although Plaskett strikes me as a good guy whom I disagree with, His word isn't enough to convict an entire population of music fans. But see, he's not even convicting. He's not even speaking on the whole population. But anyway, I heard a lot of the same hedging. I heard a lot of the same hedging when I asked police departments to show me their records regarding juggalos during the time when the FBI was contacting them for their information on juggalos for its biannual gang report. The study that in 2011 included juggalos, and yeah, my mistake. I have read this this intro. I know, because I underline stuff that I want to, because I do that a lot with books where I don't want to read the book a second time, but I might want to skim through it and just look at the little side notes. But the FBI gang assessment report in 2011 saw no nuance as Plaskett does. No one ever thought a gang would push things as it has. But when the Juggalos and ICP filed their suit against the FBI over the gang designation, it was a moment. Even if they're the most hated band in the world, they are willing to fight back against a government that wants access to our iPhones and provides military weapons to local police departments. There's a story there. That wasn't me. That's actually, I read that. There's a story there, is what he wrote. And I'm gonna end this here and pick up in another video, chapter 1, and I will be reading the back as well. Actually, let's just go ahead and read the back. A deep look into the world. This is a copyright 2016. And I'm gonna show the first picture, because right in almost halfway through the book, there's some pictures in here. And this is a Juggalo crowd at ICP show, Des Moines, Iowa. And this is this show, you know. All right, let's just we're just gonna cut this and go on to the next one.